Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Issa. Let me first of all begin by actually appreciating the present administration for timely submission of budget. This is actually has been happening for the past, I think, 3 years now, that we can see that usually the budget is always submitted to the
National
Senate
Yeah.
for their own review on time, so that the actual implementation of the budget could take off immediately when the year starts. And that is that has actually been timely. We witnessed that last 2 years, we witnessed that last year, and the same thing this year. I think the budget was being presented to the joint house on
yes.
the 7th of October
Yes.
this year. So that's actually commendable, and then is actually okay. Then looking at the budget of 16 points, about 39 trillion, which is actually even increased to about 17.1 billion.
Yes, 1 billion, exactly.
Is a budget that is commendable. We have actually witnessed a little increase when we compare with the when we compare with the previous budget per se.
Yes.
If you look at the budget, the breakdown of the budget has a capital expenditure of about 4.89 trillion and about recurrent expenditure of about 6.83 trillion, which represent the 42% of the budget entirely. But before I even discuss the nitty-gritty of the budget per se, let's understand what is even budget, what the budget is all about. Okay, basically, budget is a financial summary of country's fiscal year, which includes its proposed expenditure and the expected revenue for that fiscal year. And what does government needs to achieve with its budget? Just the way like you now, you may have your own personal budget that, okay, this month, this is what I intend to achieve based on the expected income I have. The same thing with government. Okay, the government has macroeconomic objectives. Every government, irrespective of the government system, irrespective of the economic system, has macroeconomic objectives to meet off with. These macroeconomic objectives basically are to have stable price stability in the economy. We have economic growth. We have full employment and exchange rate management. These are basically four macroeconomic objectives that every government needs to achieve. And when you look at the budget, okay, we have capital expenditure of about 4.89 trillion. We've witnessed increase in infrastructure development for the first 5 to 6 years in this country. That has serious implication in the economy. Because just take infrastructure, for instance, infrastructure alone. When government needs to, with infrastructure alone, unemployment will be reduced.
Yes.
Because production is assumed not to be completed until goods and services reaches the final users.
Yes.
So when there are infrastructures in place, like good roads, the produce can easily be distributed to the consumers, and consumer can easily buy. Not only that, by so doing, while you are on the process of constructing the roads, you are creating job opportunities. That means you are reducing unemployment. You are reducing unemployment. Not only reducing unemployment, when money gets to people, what do? They quickly go to markets.
They trade.
They quickly go to markets. So the produce, that the goods and services available are going to be bought by the consumers because they are happily employed.
Not to even talk of businesses that will come up as a result of that.
Yes. Because, okay, the moment I have more than enough to cater for myself, I'll start thinking of how do I boost my income. How do I boost my income? Maybe I establish a business. And the moment I establish a business, I am definitely going to employ 1 or 2 people. So by so doing, the unemployment rate is being reduced. That is what we call multiplier effect in economics. You just touch one variable and other variables are affected. There are major components of economy, like there are major components of economy. Government is there, household is there, and the businesses are there. Those are the 3 major components of economics. Traditional economy, like a closed economy, if you are discounting the net export and import.
So now, when you look at this budget critically, you'll discover that the budget was based on a benchmark of $57 per barrel, daily oil production of 1.88 million barrels per day. We have an exchange rate of $110 per US dollar. Now, looking at 2022, most especially that year where we believe that there will definitely be increment in fuel pump price. How do you see the possibility of implementing the budget using what we've gathered within this short period of time?
Okay, when I look at the benchmark of the budget, it has oil production at 1.88 million barrels per day.
Yes.
$410. Inflation rate of, is it 15?
15%. 13%.
No, 13. Is it 13%?
13%.
13%. Okay, actually the assumption is quite preservative. It's okay. It's not actually a kind of mirage. I believe the policymakers have sat down and looked at it critical. The parameters are okay, particularly the exchange rate. But what I'm not too comfortable with is the inflation rate at 13%. Because oil is a kind of wonderful product in the economy that has spillover effects. Touch oil in Nigeria and prices of goods and services are affected. All the prices of goods and services are going to be affected. Just take a typical example. You increase oil price. What happens to your transport fare? Increases. What happens to transportation of goods and services? Increases. Just think of all other products, everything is going to be increased. The prices of goods and services are going to be increased.
But if you look at it critically also, you know the government when it came in, that's this present administration when it came in, it was looking more at a situation whereby they can look beyond the oil production. Nigeria shouldn't just be about oil market. It should be about other infrastructural development like the agri sector development, the health sector development. And agri has been one of the major financier of our past and even our present, even despite the fact that oil is still the mainstay of the economy. What can you say about the divestment of the Nigerian economy?
Okay, Isa, this is simple. When you look at Nigeria, we are still a mono-economic nation. We solely depend on oil, and this is natural resources. We have a lot of untapped sectors in the country that we can look into. We don't have to always predominantly rely on oil. Agriculture is not fully tapped. How many farmers do we have? How much do we produce? When you compare with the resources we have, what type of farming system are we practicing? Is it mechanized or still traditional farming that my grandfather and my